Yeah. So let's remember that we have all these qualities. Sometimes we forget, sometimes I forget, and we can easily get discouraged and upset sometimes with life, isn't it? Very easy. And then we forget we have all these qualities. It's like winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Things can be covered with snow, and one could feel sometimes that plants have died, or one may feel very low. And then when spring comes, you realize there were all these seeds and plants which then manifest. Things later prove to be alive. So, that's something you should remember. Let's also remember our spiritual guide, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, our own teacher, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our founder, Lama Yeshe, and his reincarnation, Lama Urso, all the fellow students and practitioners will be praying for everybody's long life and happiness, and dedicating also motivation to everybody's harmony. And it would be unmindful of us not to remember that there's a very, very devastating conflict, war going on in Ukraine, which is so devastating, not only for the people there, but it's has implications which are too horrible to contemplate sometimes if it gets out of hand. In any case, it's created incredible amount of suffering and damage, and more mistrust and anger and pain in a world that already has enough of it and is already grappling with global warming, climate change, so many other factors. So we must motivate that our practice together is dedicated towards alleviating some of that pain as much as we can. So we'll spend a few minutes together silently, since there's not going to be time in the session for any real silence. So let's be silent for a few minutes and create your own strong motivation based on your own life, your own needs, your own appreciation and understanding of other people's pain and suffering. And remember the people you want to pray for. I'll read a section from a collection of the Buddhist Sutras, which talks about the coming of Buddha. In fact, this is actually the Buddha himself later speaking about this. Monks, he's speaking to his monks. Yeah. Monks, there is one person who arises in the world for the welfare of the multitude, for the happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the good, welfare, and happiness of devas and humans. Who is that one person? It is the Tathagat, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. This is that one person. Monks, there is one person arising in the world who is unique, without a peer, without counterpart, incomparable, unequaled, matchless, unrivaled, the best of humans. Who is that one person? It is the Tathagat, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. This is that one person. Monks, the manifestation of one person is the manifestation of great vision, of great light, of great radiance. It's the manifestation of the six things unsurpassed, the realization of the four analytical knowledges, penetration of the various elements, of the diversity of elements. It's the realization of the fruit of knowledge and liberation, the realization of the fruits of stream entry, once returning, non-returning, and arhatship. Who is that one person? It's the Tathagat, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. This is that one person. Then a passage on the Buddha's actual conception and birth. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Sravasti in Jeta's Grove, Anapatindika's park. Now, a number of monks were sitting in the assembly hall where they had met together on returning from their alms round after their meal, when this discussion arose amongst them. It is wonderful, friends. It is marvelous. How mighty and powerful is the Tathagat, for he is able to know about the Buddhas of the past who attained final Nibbana, cut off the tangle of proliferation, broke the cycle of rebirth, ended the round, surmounted all suffering. That for these blessed ones, their birth was like this. Their names were thus. Their clans were thus. Their moral discipline was thus. Their qualities of concentration were thus. Their wisdom was thus. Their meditative dwellings were thus. Their liberation was thus. When this was said, the Venerable Anand told the monks, friends, Tathagats are wonderful and have wonderful qualities. Tathagats are marvelous and have wonderful qualities. However, their discussion was interrupted, for the Blessed One rose from meditation when it was evening, went to the assembly hall, sat down on a seat made ready. Then he addressed the monks thus, monks, for what discussion are you sitting together here now? What was your discussion that was interrupted? Here, Venerable Sir, we were sitting in the assembly hall where we had met together on returning from our alms round after our meal when this discussion arose among us. Friends, the Tathagats are wonderful and have wonderful qualities, and so forth. This was our discussion, Venerable Sir. Then the Blessed One addressed Ananda. That being so, Ananda, explain more fully the Tathagats' wonderful and marvelous qualities. Then Anand speaks. I heard and learned this, Venerable Sir, from the Blessed One's own lips. Mindful and clearly comprehending, Anand, the Bodhisattva, appeared in the Tushita heaven. That mindful and clearly comprehending, the Bodhisattva appeared in the Tushita heaven. This I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. I heard and learned this from the Blessed One's own lips. Mindful and clearly comprehending, the Bodhisattva remained in the Tushita heaven. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. I heard and learned this from the Blessed One's own lips. For the whole of his lifespan, this Bodhisattva remained in the Tushita heaven. And this too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. I heard and learned this from the Blessed One's own lips. Mindful and clearly comprehending, the Bodhisattva passed away from the Tushita heaven and descended into his mother's womb. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality, the Blessed One. And when the Bodhisattva passed away from the Tushita heaven and descended into his mother's womb, an immeasurable great radiance, surpassing the divine majesty of the Devas, appeared in the world, with its Devas, Mara, Brahma, in this population with its ascetics and Brahmins, with its Devas and human beings. And even in those abysmal world intervals of vacancy, gloom, and utter darkness, where the moon and the sun, mighty and powerful as they are, cannot make their light prevail, there too an immeasurable great radiance, surpassing the divine majesty of the Devas, appeared. And the beings reborn there perceived each other by that light. So indeed, there are also other beings reborn here. And this 10,000-fold world system shook, quaked, and trembled. And again, an immeasurable great radiance, surpassing the divine majesty of the Devas, appeared in the world. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. And I also heard this from the Blessed One's own lips. When the Bodhisattva had descended into his mother's womb, 4 young Devas came to guard him at the 4 quarters, so that no humans or non-humans or anyone at all could harm the Bodhisattva or his mother. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. Then there's a verse on how when he was in his mother's womb, his mother became naturally radiant and even more virtuous than before. And she abstained from wines, liquors, and intoxicants, the bases of negligence. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. I also heard this from the Blessed One's lips. Other women give birth after carrying the child in the womb for 9 months or 10 months, but not so the Bodhisattva's mother. The Bodhisattva's mother gave birth to him after carrying him in her womb for exactly 10 months. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality, the Blessed One. Other women give birth seated or lying down, but not so the Bodhisattva's mother. The Bodhisattva's mother gave birth to him standing up. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality, the Blessed One. And when the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, first Devas received him and then human beings. And when the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, he didn't touch the earth. The 4 young Devas received him and set him before his mother, saying, "Rejoice, O Queen, a son of great power has been born to you." When the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, he came forth unsullied, unsmeared by water, humours, blood, or any other kind of impurity, clean and unsullied. Suppose there were a gem placed on fine cloth, then the gem would not smear the cloth or the cloth the gem. Why is that? Because of the purity of both. So too, when the Bodhisattva came forth, he came forth clean and unsullied. And when the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, 2 jets of water appeared to pour from the sky, one cool and one warm, for bathing the Bodhisattva and his mother. As soon as the Bodhisattva was born, he stood firmly with his feet on the ground. Then he took 7 steps facing north, and with a white parasol held over him, he surveyed each quarter and uttered the words of the leader of the herd. I am the highest in the world. I am the best in the world. I am the foremost in the world. This is my last birth. Now there is no renewed existence for me. This too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. And when the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, an immeasurable great radiance, surpassing the divine majesty of the Devas, appeared in the world. That being so, Ananda, remember this too, it's a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Tathagat. Here, Ananda, for the Tathagat, feelings are known as they arise, as they are present, and as they disappear. Perceptions are known as they arise, as they are present, as they disappear. Thoughts are known as they arise, as they are present, as they disappear. Remember this too, Anand, as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Tathagat. Venerable Sir, this is Anand speaking. Since for the Blessed One, feelings are known as they arise, as they are present, as they disappear, and so forth, with perceptions and thoughts, this too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Blessed One. And this is what the Venerable Ananda said. The teacher approved, the monks were satisfied and delighted in the Venerable Anand's words. It's a very marvelous anthology of discourses from the Pali Canon. Maybe one day we can look at more of them. His quest for enlightenment and so forth from the sutras. Of course, the sutras they have a certain style of language which can be a little tiring to the modern ear. A lot of repetition, phrases, but still very, if one has the time, it can be very moving to read the original. Well, the original Pali must be amazing, but even the English translation here by Bhikkhu Bodhi. So that's where that's coming from. And I'll post that online later so people can see. And we have a copy in the Tushita library. People can come and study it here as a reference book. Okay, so we have, just to get on with it, otherwise we won't be able to finish some of the things which are very good to finish. So that's a traditional account, okay, from the Pali Canon. Being, of course, a Tibetan Buddhist center, being a center where, our teachers are from the Mahayana tradition. So we could say that's the vast tradition, with the vast motivation, with the vast view, that view of working for the liberation of everybody, everyone, all beings, without exception, not just for one's own liberation. So therefore, we're going to now recite a prayer, which is in this booklet called the 8 Prayers to Benefit the Dead. There are copies there, I hope. Everyone has a copy or access to a copy. There are more also. People know where they are. So this King of Prayers is the extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra is one of the 8 main bodhisattvas. Can you find more texts? They're in the middle row on the right in that cupboard. Yeah, you all got?
There.
Okay, good. Okay.
The glass.
Glass cupboard, middle row on the right, or it could be the bottom row. Yeah. 8 prayers to benefit the dead. Okay, so this is a very important prayer, and as it's in this booklet because it is recommended to recite at any time, but also if someone has died, and to dedicate the merit to that person because of the extraordinary aspirations made in this prayer. Its effect is very powerful. I mean, if one had time, one stops every now and again and just reflects on what we are reciting. I mean, it's extraordinary, extraordinary. So our teacher, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he recommends to recite this. I've sent this on the Tushita WhatsApp group, so I hope people can look at it if they want. Otherwise, just listen, and hopefully there'll be some inspiration there. Okay. King of Prayers. This is on page 7 in this booklet. The extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samantabhadra. Let's all recite, whoever wants. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, you lions amongst humans, gone to freedom in the present, past, and future, in the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down, with the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world. To all you Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. On every atom are Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each amidst a host of Bodhisattvas, and I am confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way, with infinite oceans of praise for you, oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice. I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you gone to bliss. Beautiful flowers, regal garlands, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights, sublime incense, I offer to you, victorious ones. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru, all wondrous offerings in spectacular array, I offer to you, victorious ones. With transcendent offerings, peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done, with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and confusion, all these I openly lay bare before you. I lift up my heart and rejoice in all positive potential of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, solitary realizers, heroes still training, and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. Here, Lama Zopa Rinpoche advises us to meditate on rejoicing. This is very important, to meditate on rejoicing. It really uplifts the mind, creates merit, and destroys jealousy and competitiveness. So first, Rinpoche advises, remember your own good actions, your own good deeds, of which there will be many, however small, and remembering them, lift up your heart and rejoice, thinking how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. So please remember your own good actions, body, speech, and mind. So many good things we have done. If you can't think of much, you came here today. That's amazing to join in the prayers. Think how wonderful it is. All of you online, how wonderful it is. Really be happy with the positive kind of confidence and pride. And then remember your friends, especially your friends who may be, doing more than you in terms of creating, beneficial circumstances for people, doing more than you, more energetic than you in doing good actions, whatever it is. Don't feel upset and competitive or jealous. Think how wonderful it is, that this person does what they do. They're more disciplined than me, they achieve more than I do. Wonderful, how wonderful it is. Rejoice. Then think of those who are pursuing the path of the 3 higher trainings of ethical conduct, concentration, and wisdom. The effort they put into that, the renunciation that is needed to practice those 3, Shil, Samadhi, Pragya. Think of that. They're creating the cause for higher rebirth and liberation. How wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Then remember our own teachers, the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas. Remember Shakyamuni Buddha, all the ascetic hardships he went through, what he gave up, all the hardships which are described in detail in the sutras, all of his efforts to attain enlightenment, and then, of course, all of the previous lives in which he had practiced patience and giving up his body countless times and so forth. And then in his last birth, all of his actions, and then his action of teaching, and then his action of passing away to remind us of impermanence. Remembering all of this, and our own teachers who perform the actions of the Buddha now for us, who didn't have the opportunity to meet Shakyamuni. Our teachers are doing that work. Think of all their incredible, inexpressible, noble actions, cherishing others. Think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Feel a deep sense of adoration and devotion towards our teachers and Shakyamuni Buddha for their kindness to us, their unbelievable perseverance on the spiritual path. How wonderful it is. And then Rinpoche also advises sometimes, please remember all of the great saints, the really great saints who have benefited others from all the spiritual traditions of the world, not just Buddhist. Remember them and their actions. Think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Okay, so Rinpoche really advises, especially if we get downhearted by remembering our harmful actions, which was the previous verse, which we do need to feel regret for, but then rejoicing helps to uplift us and help us go forward. Next verse. You who are the bright lights of worlds in 10 directions, who have attained a Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening, all of you who are my guides, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request, you who may actualize parinirvana, please stay with us for eons numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all of this for full awakening. May you Buddhas now living in the worlds of 10 directions, all of you gone to freedom in the past, accept my offerings. May those not yet arisen quickly perfect their minds, awakening as fully awakened ones. May all worlds in 10 directions be entirely pure and vast. May they be filled with bodhisattvas, surrounding Buddhas gathered beneath a Bodhi tree. May as many beings as exist in 10 directions be always well and happy. May all samsaric beings live in accord with the dharma, and may their every dharma wish be fulfilled. Remembering my past lives in all varieties of existence, may I practice the Bodhisattva way, and thus in each cycle of death, migration, and birth, may I always abandon the householder's life. Then, following in the footsteps of all the Buddhas and perfecting the practice of the Bodhisattva, may I always act without error or compromise, with ethical discipline, faultless and pure. May I teach the Dharma in the language of gods, in every language of spirits and nagas, of humans and of demons, and in the voice of every form of being. May I be gentle-minded, cultivating the 6 paramitas, never forget bodhicitta. May I completely cleanse without omission every negativity and all that obscures this awakening mind. May I traverse all my lives in the world, free of karma, afflictions, and interfering forces, just as the lotus blossom is undisturbed by the water's wave, just as the sun and moon move unhindered through the sky. May I ease the suffering in the lower realms and in the many directions and dimensions of the universe. May I guide all wanderers in samsara to the pure bliss of awakening and be of worldly benefit to them as well. May I practice constantly for eons to come, perfecting the activities of awakening, acting in harmony with the various dispositions of being, showing the ways of the Bodhisattva. May I always have the friendship of those whose path is like mine, and with body, words, and also mind, may we practice together the same aspirations and activities. May I always meet a spiritual mentor, never displease that excellent friend who deeply wishes to help me and expertly teaches the Bodhisattva way. May I always directly see the Buddhas, masters encircled by Bodhisattvas, and without pause or discouragement for eons to come, may I make extensive offerings to them. May I hold within me the Buddha's genuine dharma, illuminate everywhere the teachings that awaken, embody the realizations of a Bodhisattva, and practice ardently in all future eons, while circling through all states of existence. May I become an endless treasure of good qualities, skillful means, wisdom, samadhi, liberating stabilization, gathering limitless, pristine wisdom and positive potential. On one atom, I shall see Buddha fields, numberless as atoms, inconceivable Buddhas among bodhisattvas in every field, practicing the activities of awakening. Perceiving this in all directions, I dive into an ocean of Buddha fields, each an ocean of 3 times Buddhas in the space of a wisp of hair. So I too will practice for an ocean of eon. Thus I'm continually immersed in the speech of the Buddhas, expression that reveals an ocean of qualities in one word, the completely pure eloquence of all the Buddhas, communication suited to the varied tendencies of beings. With strength of understanding, I plunge into the infinite enlightened speech of the Dharma of all Buddhas in 3 times gone to freedom, who continually turn the wheel of Dharma methods. I shall experience in one moment such vast activity of all future eons, and I will enter into all eons of the 3 times in but a fraction of a second. In one instant, I shall see all those awakened beings, past, present, and future lives among humans, and with the power of the illusion-like stabilization, I'll constantly engage in their inconceivable activity. I shall manifest upon one single atom the array of pure lands, present, past, and future. Likewise, I shall enter the array of pure Buddha fields in every direction without exception. I shall enter the very presence of all my guides, those lights of the world who are yet to appear, those sequentially turning the wheels of complete awakening, those who reveal nirvana, final perfect peace. May I achieve the power of swift magical emanation, the power to lead to the great vehicle through every approach, the power of always beneficial activity, the power of love pervading all realms, the power of all surpassing positive potential, the power of supreme knowledge unobstructed by discrimination, and through the powers of wisdom, skillful means, and samadhi, may I achieve the perfect power of awakening, purifying the power of all contaminated action, crushing the power of disturbing emotions at their root, diffusing the power of interfering forces. I shall perfect the power of the Bodhisattva practice. May I purify an ocean of worlds. May I free an ocean of beings. May I clearly see an ocean of dharma. May I realize an ocean of pristine wisdom. May I purify an ocean of activities. May I fulfill an ocean of aspiration. May I make offerings to an ocean of Buddhas. May I practice without discouragement for an ocean of eon. To awaken fully through this Bodhisattva way, I shall fulfill without exception all the diverse aspirations of the awakening practice of all Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times everywhere, in order to practice exactly as the wise one called Samantabhadra, all-embracing good, the elder brother of the sons and daughters of Buddhas, I completely dedicate all this goodness. Likewise, may I dedicate just to the skillful Samantabhadra with pure body, speech, and mind, pure actions, and pure Buddha feel. I shall give rise to the aspirations of Manjushri for this Bodhisattva practice of all embracing good, to perfect these practices without discouragement or pause in all future eons. May my pure activities be endless, my good qualities boundless. Through abiding in immeasurable activity, may I actualize infinite emanations. Limitless is the end of space. Likewise, limitless are living beings. Thus, limitless are karma and affliction. May my aspirations reach be limitless as well. One may offer to the Buddha all wealth and adornments of the infinite worlds in 10 directions, and one may offer during eons numberless as atoms of the world, even the greatest happiness of gods and humans. But whoever hears this extraordinary aspiration and longing for highest awakening, gives rise to faith just once, creates far more precious positive potential. Those who make this heartfelt aspiration for the Bodhisattva way will be free of all lower rebirths, free of harmful companions, and will quickly see Amitabha, infinite light. And even in this very human life, they'll be nourished by happiness and have all conducive circumstances. Without waiting long, they'll become like Samantabhadra himself. Those who give voice to this extraordinary aspiration will quickly and completely purify the 5 boundless harmful actions created under the power of ignorance, blessed with supreme knowledge, excellent body, family attributes, and appearance. They will be invincible to vast interfering forces and misleading teachers, and all the 3 worlds will make offerings, going quickly to the noble Bodhi tree, sitting there to benefit sentient beings, subduing all interfering forces. They'll fully awaken and turn the great wheel of Dharma. Have no doubt that complete awakening is the fully ripened result, comprehended only by a Buddha, of holding in mind by teaching, reading, or reciting this aspiration of the Bodhisattva practice in order to train just like the hero Manjushri, who knows reality as it is, and just like Samantabhadra as well. I completely dedicate all this goodness just as they did. With that dedication, which is praise of the greatest, by all the Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times, I too dedicate all my roots of goodness for the attainments of the Bodhisattva practice. When the moment of my death arrives, by eliminating all obscurations and directly perceiving Amitabha, may I go immediately to Sukhavati, pure land of great joy. Having gone to Sukhavati, may I actualize the meaning of these aspirations, fulfilling them all without exception, for the benefit of beings for as long as this world endures. Born from an extremely beautiful superlative lotus, in this joyful land, the Buddha's magnificent mandala, may I receive a prediction of my awakening directly from the Buddha Amitabha. Having received a prediction there, may I create vast benefit for beings throughout the 10 directions, with 1 billion emanations by the power of wisdom, through even the small virtue I have accumulated. By offering this prayer of the Bodhisattva practice, may all the positive aspirations of beings be fulfilled in an instant, through creating limitless positive potential. By dedicating this prayer of Samantabhadra's deeds, may all beings drowning in this torrent of suffering enter the presence of Amitabha, through this king of aspirations, which is the greatest of the sublime, helping infinite wanderers in samsara. Through the accomplishment of this scripture, dazzling with Samantabhadra's practice, may suffering realms be utterly emptied of all beings. There's a prayer taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, apparently, to Maitreya Bodhisattva, and this is Tushita Center. We have Maitreya is the main image here, future Buddha. Of course, we have Shakyamuni Buddha, but Maitreya is the main image here. And we have a very important Maitreya project of our teachers, which has been something that has been in the mind of Lama Yeshe for before, well before he passed away in 1984. So we can recite this prayer, which is also excellent to recite anyway, and dedicate it for the Maitreya project in Kushinagar, which has tremendous potential to be of great benefit. And we can make that prayer today because also there are many obstacles to this project. Since it's such an amazing project, there are also many obstacles. And today also the Prime Minister would have descended there in a helicopter for his prayers at Kushinagar. They made a helicopter pad on our land, which we hope to be able to utilize before long for our own purpose. So anyway, I'm not going to go into details, but we need a lot of prayers for this project, which is very important for our organization, for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, for all of us. And it is said that these kind of projects, which are aimed at also building Maitreya statues, is one of the purposes. They help, in the Mahayana view, they help to reduce the duration of famine, conflict, and powerful incurable diseases. The era of that, which is predicted in the Buddhist teachings, and which I think we are seeing now: conflict, famine, and diseases. So millions of people are threatened with starvation always, but especially now with the war in Ukraine and food supplies being cut. So WHO and others have said millions and millions are in danger of starvation. So anyway, this is the sign of the times. It's not going to get better now, is it? It's going to get worse for a while, with what's happening in the world and with climate change and ongoing stupid behavior of human beings, especially the more powerful ones. But we're all to blame maybe in some way. I certainly am. Predilection for biscuits and lots of wrappings. Anyway, point is famine, conflict, war, and disease. This is certainly the sign of the time. And these kind of projects, which have such noble aspirations, and due to the power of the object, in this case, Maitreya statue or other powerful objects, this can help to reduce somewhat the effect, reduce the duration of these times of woe, of tremendous suffering and hardship for sentient beings. Yeah, so like that. If someone wants to come closer, you're welcome to bring a cushion and sit on the carpet. You don't have to sit on the sidelines if you'd rather be closer. It's up to you. Yeah. Anyway, welcome all of you who are out of sight, not out of mind. Our old friend Bob and Thar. Yeah, great. Okay. So this is page 41. And at the end of this, page 44, there are 3 mantras. We'll recite them through 3 times also. So this is a prayer to Maitreya Bodhisattva, apparently taught by Shakyamuni Buddha, who of course knew who was coming next. It's not like, prime ministers or presidents who don't necessarily know who's going to be the next prime minister or president, but Buddhas know who's going to be the next world Buddha, meaning who comes as a supreme emanation Buddha who then revives Buddhism, teaches it. There are billions of Buddhas, but here we're talking about world teacher Buddha, and Maitreya will come sometime in the future, not for a while, but yeah, sometime he will come. Okay. To the awakened ones I prostrate, and to the yogis, with the power of God's eye, as well as to the bodhisattvas, the hearers and so forth. Bodhicitta bars the way to unfortunate destinies. It's the great teaching that leads to the highest realm, and even to the state beyond old age and death. To the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, I prostrate. Bodhicitta is the mind aspiring to highest enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, those who don't know the term. Controlled by negative habits, in the sight of the Buddha, I have often given harm to others. I shall confess those actions. Yet, from the beneficial actions of my body, speech, and mind, I pray that the merit generating the seeds of omniscience may never be exhausted. May I further accomplish this accumulation of merit by performance of the three actions of body, speech, and mind. I offer all that I have to the Buddhas in their pure lands of the 10 directions. In the wisdom of all the Buddha and in my own virtues, I rejoice. So here it's a practice of offering, which is often the main theme you will see in big Buddhist festivals and organizations. There's a lot of offerings, right? But of course, here we're talking of mental offerings, can be made even more vast. And that's where they really count, because offerings are there to help expand our minds and to make us generous and so forth. So you can imagine now for a minute, most exquisite offerings, those things you didn't have the time to buy and to bring, or, vast. Maybe you would like to offer elephants or camels or horses, So you can visualize them seriously and offer them with your mind, which you couldn't bring here because we don't have room for elephants here. So you can offer things and flowers and fruit and all kinds of wonderful things. You offer it with an open heart, with an open mind, to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, to those who have generated the supreme mind of compassion and so forth. Traditionally, we offer water for washing, water for drinking. We offer flowers, we offer incense, we offer light, we offer perfume, we offer food and fruits, and then perfume, food and fruits, and then music. Traditionally 8 kinds of offering, but you can offer so many kinds of things, which are beautiful and useful, not negative things, not guns, not tanks, but offer wonderful things, So spend a minute offering what you would like to offer to the Buddhas mentally, if you wish. If it doesn't appeal to you, then don't do it. Just, watch your breath or whatever you want to do. Or just think that, I'm offering medicines or food, to all the Buddhas, not because they need it, because I need to open my mind. Buddhas don't need any of these things, by the way. And authentic teachers do not demand these things. They are happy when we practice, not when we just make offerings. Of course, they're happy if we make offerings and make merit, obviously. So spend a moment filling space with as many offerings as you wish and feeling that the Buddhas generate uncontaminated great bliss. Not the kind of grasping, greedy mind we have when we are offered things, but uncontaminated great bliss, Mahasukha. Of course, bodhisattvas have the practice of visualizing that their body transforms into whatever other beings need for their happiness. So that also, of course, that's another practice that can be done. The out breath, whenever, imagine our breath and our body transforming into what others need. Then that becomes a marvelous imprint so that we are then actually able to benefit others more and more in the future. Verse 2 on page 42. In short, I confess all harmful actions, I make prostration to all the Buddha, I rejoice in all acts of virtue, and I myself wish to obtain supreme wisdom. Bodhisattvas of the 10th level in all the 10 directions need no reminder to work for enlightenment. Obtaining Buddhahood, supreme enlightenment, joining those who have subdued the demon of self-cherishing, he, Maitreya, will turn the Dharma wheel in order to benefit all sentient beings. I pray that sentient beings without exception may be liberated by the sound of the great Dharma drum. Please stay to teach the path to enlightenment for inconceivable millions of eons. I, who am stuck hard in the mud of the desire realm, tightly bound by the rope of samsara, please watch over me, supreme beings, who stand on the 2 feet of method and wisdom. The love of the Buddha is not obscured in the same way as love between sentient beings. The goal of his loving kindness, compassion, is to lead them across the ocean of samsara. I will follow with care the path of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. It is enlightenment that I will practice. When I have accomplished the 6 perfections, may I be able to liberate all beings in the 6 migratory realms. May I manifest the 6 supramundane cognitions. May I touch supreme enlightenment. Not born, not coming, self-nature non-existent, abiding non-existent, awareness of appearance non-existent, the true existence of things themselves, I wish to realize the emptiness of phenomena. Buddha is like a great Lord, yet sentient beings do not exist. Life does not exist. No being at all is there that exists. Even healing does not exist. I wish to understand the phenomena of the non-self-existent ego. Since ego's grasping of all phenomena is non-existent, I wish to develop charity without limit in order to benefit all sentient beings. Phenomena do not exist. May the lack of material resources not hinder me. All things are impermanent. Therefore, I wish to accomplish the perfection of charity. May I never transgress the discipline of morality and free myself from pride. Since by having pride in the appearance of morality and purity, one is without morality. I wish to accomplish the perfection of morality. Patience must be as steady as earth or water, not changeable like the wind. Knowing that both patience and anger do not exist, I wish to accomplish the perfection of patience. It is by effort that I must practice the perfection of effort, without enjoying laziness. By the power of mind and body, I wish to accomplish the perfection of effort, like the concentration called magic, and the concentration of going heroically, and the concentration like a thunderbolt. May I accomplish the perfection of concentration. May I gain the great wisdom that has realized the practices of all 3 vehicles, 3 doors to liberation, and the 3 exact concentrations. Thus, there was one who followed a completed practice like this. He was named Maitreya. Accomplishing well the 6 perfections, he quickly reached the 10th level. Now we'll recite these 3 mantras through 3 times. So 10th level is the highest level before Buddhahood. After the Bodhisattva has realized emptiness directly, he goes through the levels 1 to 10. So at the 10th level, he's almost a Buddha, not quite, he or she, and then becomes Buddha through the inconceivable meditations of the 10th level. Okay, so as we recite these mantras also, and then we dedicate, please remember, it's an important day today. The merit is multiplied. And especially since, this, I want to repeat this, the UP government and Nepal are linking up to create a Buddhist circuit. So we can offer, our organization can offer a lot. This is what Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche want with this Maitreya statue, with the school, with the clinic, with all the activities that will be connected with this great project, which has been in danger of, not happening. So again, it's reviving. So please pray that since also a lot of events happening there today, including the Prime Minister, alighting on our land in a helicopter. We call it our land. The government feels they've taken it back, the tourist department, but we want to show that we can do a better job than UP tourism. Anyway, we need a lot of help of all kinds, including divine help, whatever. So please pray for this to happen, this great project. We have at least 190 acres. So of course, with 190 acres, a lot can be done to benefit others. That's the plain purpose, not to promote ourselves, it's to benefit others. And for the purposes I mentioned in terms of famine, war, and conflict, and so forth. Okay, so after reciting the mantras of Turin, feel that everything is needed for this project to succeed happens. And it's my wish, our wish, that all of you will be able to visit and benefit from this project in the future. It's 1.5 hour plane ride away from Delhi now. There are direct flights to Kushinagar. Recently became an international airport. Okay, yeah. So remembering Maitreya, Buddha, future Buddha, which is none other than our own potential also for loving kindness and Buddhahood. We shouldn't see Maitreya as totally different from ourselves, since we all have the Buddha nature. We shouldn't be too dualistic about it. But yeah, a being called Maitreya is said to come in the future to liberate, to help us when things have gotten really pretty bad. Yeah. Okay. Namo Ratnatraya, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamanaya, Tathagataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Tayata Om Ajite Ajite Aparajite Ajitanchaya Hara Hara Maitri Avalokite Kara Kara Mahasamayasi Bara Bara Mahabodhi Menda Bija Smara Smara Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Soha Om Mohi Mohi Mahamohi Soha Om Muni Muni Smara Soha Namo Ratnatraya Namo Bhagavate Shakyamanaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tayada Om Ajite Ajite Aparajite Ajitanjaya Hara Hara Maitri Avalokite Kara Kara Mahasamayasi Bara Bara Mahabodhi Menda Veda Smara Smara Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Soha Om Mohi Mohi Mahamohi Soha Om Muni Muni Smara Soha Namo Ratnatraya Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya Tathagataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tayata Om Ajite Ajite Aparajite Ajitanjaya Hara Hara Maitri Avalokite Kara Kara Mahasamayasi Bara Bara Mahabodhi Menda Vija Smara Smara Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Soha Om Mohi Mohi Mahamohi Soha Om Muni Muni Smara Soha. So I don't know the proper translation of the long mantra, but the short mantra Mohi Mohi Mahamohi Soha, I think it's like fascinating, or greatly fascinating one or inspiring one. Yeah, I think Mohi is a well-known word in Hindi. Muni Muni Shmara Soha, so a great sage, Remember. Smaran. When my death comes to me in this place, may I pass with ease to the pure land of Ganden. May I quickly please the Bodhisattva Maitreya and learn from him the time and place of my awakening. Said that in the future, when Maitreya comes, and those of us who are fortunate to have practiced some morality at this time will be reborn at that time, and as his disciples, he will then predict our enlightenment. If we're not enlightened by then, I hope we're all enlightened by then, because he's not coming, next Wednesday or next year. It's quite a while before Maitreya comes. So, we hope we could get enlightened before he comes, but if we don't, you're going to get enlightened quicker, right? You hope so. You're sitting the closest, so you should. Okay, so anyone want to say anything so that I can stop talking for a while? Anyone want to share anything? Feel free. Thank you, people online, being so patient and so loyal. 25 people online, which is a nice number for us. And let's give you a little tour of what's happening here so that you get a little look at all your friends. And, you can see people you know. Go on, give a big smile. That's Sagar's smile. Sagar. Yeah, and this is where are we? This is Aruna Vasudev, who is very, very well. I won't embarrass her by introducing her, but she's being very good and patient and not reaching for her Panama cigars or whatever, cigarettes. Okay. Thank you, all of you. Now, anyone here or anyone online want to say anything? Since you might want to say something, and then I'll tell everyone what you're saying. I'm unmuting you. Yeah. Naveen ji, kuch कहना है? Kochi se? No, okay. Sujit ji, Jagmohan ji, who's our oldest members. No?
Haji, thank you very much for organizing this function.
Thank you, Jagmohan ji. Thank you. Thank you for sending the book. All we're missing is you and your biscuits that you used to bring.
I'm having some health issues.
Okay.
And well, I will come back.
We'll pray for your health. We'll pray for your health. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Anybody, please feel free. Anybody here like to say something or ask or whatever? No? Okay. What's the time? 7:17. People can stay a bit longer, I hope, because I also want everyone to share some refreshments and prasad. Anything? Pradeep ji? Rahul? Nobody? Rishabh? No question, Anushri? Anushri usually has a question. She throws at us at the very end when we're trying to end. So I'm asking her now. Kuch hai? Nahi. Okay. Theek hai. Do you have some energy for some more prayers, or do you want some silent time, 5 minutes to digest some of what we, yeah? And those who want to have a drink or something, if you need, please take. Yeah. Let's have 5-minute silence or break, whatever. That's good. Silence, folks. Okay. Okay, we can end this quiet period with brief reflection on loving kindness, with some words from the middle length discourses of the Buddha, Majjhima Nikaya. We can aspire to this. What we hear, it's quite almost extreme, you could say, but we can aspire to that. What is being said here? It shows how serious, you could say, how deeply Lord Buddha wanted us to develop our loving kindness. Not a kind of superficial, sentimental attitude, but something incredibly deep and able to withstand any kind of situation. And he's speaking to his monks, but we shouldn't let that put us off. We're all human beings who can practice this maybe one day, aspire to it anyway. Monks, even if bandits were to sever you savagely limb by limb with a two-handled saw, he who gave rise to a mind of hate toward them would not be carrying out my teaching. Herein, monks, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no bitter words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare with a mind of loving kindness, never in a mood of hate. We shall abide pervading them with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. That is how you should train. So it makes us feel sad, doesn't it, when you see the explosion of hatred that is there. I mean, it's there all the time, but this, latest, most visible example in the Russia-Ukraine war, fear, the hatred, the anxiety, the misery on both sides. Both sides are miserable. Both sides are suffering. So may they be well and happy. How wonderful it would be if they could generate the causes for happiness, generate happiness and its causes. And all of us generate happiness and its causes. And be free of suffering and its causes. Okay. So we'll just recite one more short section from the extraordinary sutra called the Exalted Sublime Golden Light, highly, highly praised by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Of course, the effects of reciting a lot of these sutras, it's hard for us to understand how it works, right? But we are persuaded by many holy beings, including our teachers, that reciting these texts can be incredibly beneficial, incredibly powerful for the mind, for the environment, and for everybody connected. There's extra text here, and there are hundreds of texts at the back. In fact, you can all take one of these texts home, and if you are inspired by it, you can take more than one to offer to someone whom you think might benefit, who won't just stick it there with their detective novels, but keep it well and read it occasionally. Okay. So on the first page, I hope of most editions, it gives an idea of how one should recite it. Okay, many of it doesn't. What we should do is we should feel as we recite bits of it, that Lord Buddha is giving this teaching to us, we are understanding it, and as we recite it, making some sound, many beings are benefiting from hearing it, okay? So we're receiving it from Lord Buddha, we're understanding the words, and by reciting it, we are benefiting beings. Of course, there's a preface, Lama Zopa explains some of this. He thinks it's very, very powerful text. If there were sufficient number of people reciting it in certain places, it could help to prevent and stop violence. Anyway, we can do just what we can. And for those, I would highly recommend those who don't have it to take it home. It has an, I mean, a lot of it is quite difficult going, but some of it is so inspiring, especially the chapter where the Bodhisattva and Buddha in a previous life offers his body to a hungry tigress to prevent her and her cubs from starving to death. So there's that chapter, which we might just recite a few verses from now. But there's also a very famous chapter on confession, chapter 4. We don't have time to recite that, but that's a very powerful chapter. Chapter 4 on confession, which is kind of amazing. If you're a filmmaker or an imaginer, you know, an artist or a novelist of a certain kind, you could be very inspired by some of the verses from these kind of Mahayana sutras. They're amazing. They stretch our imagination, but in a good way. Yeah. Also probably pretty good for people who are involved in animation. You know, you could make amazing animated features from some of the passages of these sutras. Just to give you an idea, let's just read page 21, which is the shortest chapter, just one page, which is a preliminary to the confession chapter. And then we will go on to chapter 18, okay? So page 21, and then page 1, 2, 3. Chapter 3, the chapter on seeing the seeing the dream. Then the Bodhisattva Rudraketu slid into sleep. He dreamed he saw a golden drum, its light shining like the orb of the sun. In every direction, countless inconceivable numbers of Tathagats were preaching the Dharma, seated on lapis thrones at the foot of jewel trees, completely surrounded by numerous hundreds of thousands of retinues. Then he saw a being in the form of a Brahmin beating that drum. And from the sound of the drum, these and similar confessional verses issued forth. Then the Bodhisattva Rudraketu awoke and remembered those verses at once. Having remembered those verses, when night came to an end, he, along with many hundreds of thousands of beings, left the great city of Rajgiri. He arrived at Vulture's Peak, where the Tathagat was. Having reached there, he prostrated himself at the feet of the Tathagat, circumambulated the Tathagat 3 times, and sat to one side. Sitting to one side, the Bodhisattva Rudraketu bowed to the Tathagat with hands folded in respect and recited those confessional verses he heard coming forth from the drum. This ends the 3rd chapter, the chapter on seeing the dream from the King of Glorious Sutras, Sublime Golden Light. So this is like a teaser trailer, right? Then you want to read the next chapter and see what happened, you know, in that dream, the confessional chapter. But you won't read it, it's long, but I hope you please take it home and read it one. You know? Sorry?
He says, recited those confessions.
Yes. Next chapter, which you take home and read. We don't have time now. We'll look at the chapter on the tigress. But if you want, yeah, for auspiciousness, we could read, as they say, the first few verses of chapter 4, just for auspiciousness. You're right, it's good to do, then it creates the cause for us to read the whole thing later. So page 22, chapter 4, chapter on confession. It's amazing, the start of this chapter. One night, without distraction, I dreamed a vivid dream. I saw a large and beautiful drum, filling the world with golden light, glowing like the sun. beaming brightly to all places. It was seen from 10 directions. Everywhere Buddhas were seated on thrones of precious lapis at the foot of jeweled trees, facing assemblies of many hundreds of thousands. I saw a form like that of a Brahmin fiercely beat upon the drum. When he struck it, these verses issued forth. By the sound of this majestic drum of golden light, may the suffering of lower migration, Yama, the poverty of the three realms of the triple thousand worlds cease to be. By the sound of this majestic drum, may the ignorance of the world be dispelled, with fears quelled, just as vanquishing sages are unafraid. May sentient beings become fearless and brave. Just as the omniscient vanquishing sage in the world is possessed of every excellence of the Aryas, may countless beings too possess oceans of qualities, concentration, the wings of enlightenment. By the sound of this majestic drum, may all beings be endowed with the melody of Brahma. May they touch the sublime enlightenment of Buddha. May they turn the virtuous wheel of Dharma. Remaining for inconceivable eons, may they teach the Dharma to guide migrating beings, conquering delusion and overcoming afflictions. May their attachment, hatred, and ignorance be pacified. May sentient beings who have fallen to lower migration, whose bodies of bone are alight with blazing flame, hear the speech of this majestic drum. May the proclamation, homage to the Tathagata, be heard. One more verse. In the course of hundreds of births, tens of thousands of millions of births, may every being remember their former lives, hear these teachings completely, and always recall vanquishing sages. Actually, one more. By the sound of this majestic drum, may beings always find the company of Buddhas, thoroughly renouncing every harmful act. May they engage in only virtuous deeds. So you see, please continue reading that at some point at home or somewhere. It's marvelous. And if we do it with a sincere mind of healthy regret, not guilt, healthy regret, and then dedicate at the end and pray that we may reduce the number of our negative actions, especially certain bad habits we may have, like criticizing others or being sarcastic or whatever. May we not do that for a day or two or however long we can promise for, and then keep that. And then when we're stronger, we can promise not to do it again. That's how the teachers say we should gradually get to the stage of giving up negative actions. Don't think we can give it all up immediately unless you're very, very certain of it. Okay, hold on, just want to check. Okay. Okay, thank you, Naveen. You're having to leave, are you? Okay, okay. Naveen is thanking us. And, people are thanking all of us, so thank you. We are not here. The Zoomers don't get benefits. So share the thanks. Okay, page 123 in your Sutra of Golden Light. We'll just do a few verses from the chapter on the Tigris. So just to give you some introduction, the Buddha and his monks are strolling. They find an amazing, beautiful place. Magically, a stupa comes out of the ground with a relic, and then Buddha tells the story connected with that. And it's the story of one of his past lives, where he was already practicing. Of course, he was already a great being, a Mahasattva. In fact, his name in that life is Mahasattva. He's one of three princes who go with the entourage to a big park, a jungle, to play and sport. And they come across a starving tigress. And they're all very, sad to see this tigress, he and his two brothers. But Mahasattva is especially touched and concerned about this tigress. And he says, he tells his brothers to just go away and enjoy themselves. He has something he has to do. Okay, so page 126. Sorry we're having to curtail this, but again, you take it home and you read the whole thing. Be inspired. Your favorite drink at your elbows, give you energy. So the other two princes say, to give food to this tigress, she needs flesh and blood, to survive, and how difficult it is to do that, and how difficult it is to give up one's body. Then Mahasattva said, top of the page, for people like us, feeble-minded and greatly attached to the body, such an act is difficult indeed. This is page 126. However, great beings embark on giving their bodies completely and dauntlessly strive for others' welfare. Moreover, born of affectionate love and compassion, Arya beings who consider their bodies as just obtained in heaven or on this earth, their joyous minds, most agreeable to saving others' lives, remaining steadfast, would have hundredfold compassion in this case. Feeling very sad, the young prince looked at the tigress for a length of time without blinking. Then he went on his way. Then Mahasattva had this thought. Now the time has come for me to give this body away. Why? Although I've long guarded this putrid body, subject to death and decay, providing it with food and drink, clothing, vehicles, luxurious beds, ultimately it's doomed to crumble and end in woe. This body has no purpose save to abandon its unknown nature. Furthermore, since it's wholly impure, it won't endure. Now I should use it for a noble end. Thus it shall be for me like a boat crossing the ocean of death and rebirth. Moreover, this body, possessed of hundreds of abscess-like existences, filled with feces and urine, without core, like foam, bearing hundreds of worms, laying waste to what has been done, I shall attain the Dharmakaya's timeless state, free of the afflicted aggregates, sorrowless and endowed with samadhi, replete with hundreds of stainless virtues. Dharmakaya is the wisdom truth body one attains when one becomes a Buddha. And the afflicted aggregates means the tainted body and mind, basically. Okay. His heart brimming with supreme compassion and resolve, he asked his brother to leave. You two can go off. I'm returning to the Dadashvana Gulma for a personal thing. That's the name of the forest. Then Prince Mahasattva left that part of the forest and returned to where the tigress was. He hung his clothes on a forest creeper and prayed. To benefit transmigrating beings, may I attain the peace of fearless enlightenment. My mind, compassionate and steadfast, I give this body, which others find hard to give up. May I achieve the flawless, priceless enlightenment that Bodhisattvas so keenly seek. I shall free beings in the triple worlds from the intense fear of the ocean of existence. Then Mahasattva lay in front of the tigress, but the tigress did nothing to the compassionate Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva thought, alas, she's too weak and incapable. So he rose up in search of a sharp weapon, didn't find one. Then taking hold of a strong branch of a bamboo stick, 100 years old, he cut his throat and fell down before the tigress. When the Bodhisattva fell down, the earth shook in 6 ways, like a boat pounded by winds amidst the sea. The sun, as if caught by Rahu, did not shine with its rays. Flowers mingled with divine perfumes and powders fell. Then a certain goddess, her mind overwhelmed with astonishment, praised the Bodhisattva. O noble-minded one, holding all beings in your compassion, here as you joyfully give your body, hero among men, before long and without trouble, you will find pristine peace, that tranquil, supreme state, devoid of birth and death's pain. Then, licking the blood-stained body of the Bodhisattva, the tigress reduced his body to bones without flesh and blood. Yeah. So, and then the story goes on and how the king and queen are heartbroken when they find out the news and so forth. And then it ends with the Buddha again with his monks in his present life. Then he explains who was who, you know. He was the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, who the tigress was, and then the 5 cubs who were survived, they became his first disciples, the 5 monks who heard him at Sarnath. So it's also talking about, you know, the continuity from life to life and how karmic actions, powerful karmic actions, link us from life to life. Anyway, it's good to read, very, and dedicated to noble purpose. These copies were donated by Avalok Joshi. So pray for him and his family and his mother who was sick. He sponsored hundreds of copies of this text for us. Okay, I think, sorry, those online, you probably were sent, I sent you the, what was it? So the sutra remembering the three jewels. So I don't know, so that you can all join in, I think we should just recite that. It's quite short. And those who wish, while we're reciting that, I don't think there's any problem if we do this, for those who are especially in a hurry. We don't have enough, we have enough offerings, I think, for everybody to get something. Yeah, we can distribute. If we'd been clever, we'd have cut up the oranges so that everyone could get a little piece of everything, but it doesn't matter. But everyone should get something before they leave. So if anyone feels energetic, the chocolate bar can be broken up, for example, the biscuits can be taken out. There are plates at the back. Those who are in a hurry. Otherwise, this will take 5-6 minutes, this sutra, and we could do otherwise. Otherwise, we can start now.
People at the back can't hear you.
Can't hear me even now. Wow. Can you hear me now? Who can't hear me? Yeah? Somebody can't hear? Pradeepji? Ah, yeah, that fan. Sorry, next time I'll have to set up the loudspeaker properly. Yeah. Now you can hear me, right? Okay. So you couldn't hear me all this time? That's good, actually. We were always probably a good thing. Okay. Excuse me?
They would have sat here.
They could have, yeah. There's a lot of could have and should have. Okay. So we have Sutra Remembering the Three Jewels. I sent it on the posting. Sorry, we don't have copies here, but I have it here. Those who have their smartphones and who are on our Tushita group, they would have got it. I mean, things like oranges and all, we can just give in people's hand, but if it's something else, we can open up the chocolates from Germany, for example. I think Manushri's brother. Okay, so the Sutra Remembering the Three Jewels, that means Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, is very good to recite at pilgrimage places and on special occasions. It's a short, remembrance, a praise of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, especially the Buddha. It gives, first of all, the title in Sanskrit, Arya Ratnatraya Anusmriti Sutra. Homage to the Omniscient One, purified and consummate, virtuous, victorious and transcendent, thus gone, foe destroyer, entirely perfect Buddha, full of wisdom, the blissfully proceeding, knower of the world, charioteer, subduer of beings, unsurpassable, teacher of gods and men, such is Buddha, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. He who is thus gone exemplifies the merit which is his cause. In him no root of virtue is ever worn away. Through his manifold patience, he is exceedingly beautiful. He is the treasure ground of merit. Adorned with the tokens of enlightenment, he is graced with the flowers of the marks of Buddhahood. All he does is seasonable, opportune, and nothing inharmonious mars the sight of him. True joy indeed he gives to those who open up their hearts to him in faith. Through the brilliance of his wisdom, he is unconfounded, and against his power, there is no victory. He is the teacher of all living beings, the father of all bodhisattvas, the king of all superior ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of beyond affliction. His wisdom is unbounded, his assurance is beyond imagining. His speech is altogether pure, well-tuned, sweet to hear. Gazing on him, one is never sated. His body is beyond compare. By the realm of desire, he is unstained. By the realm of form, he is wholly uncontaminated. He is not mingled with the formless. He is altogether free from misery, and from the aggregates, he is utterly and altogether free. The elements have no hold on him. He has mastery of the sense powers. All bonds he has completely severed, and from all pain, he is perfectly and totally released. No craving does he have. He's passed beyond the stream. Perfect is his wisdom, and in the wisdom of the Buddhas past, present, and to come, he has made his dwelling. In nirvana, where all suffering is transcended, he does not abide. His abode is in the very summit of perfection, residing in that place where he perceives all living beings. Such are the sublime qualities that are the greatness of the Buddha, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. The sacred doctrine, the dharma, is righteous in the outset, righteous in the middle, righteous in the end. In its meaning, excellent. In its words and syllables, likewise. It is integral, unalloyed. It is all-sufficing, altogether pure and purifying. Well spoken is this dharma by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. It is a perfect way of seeing and is devoid of ailment. It is perennial and leads us onward. To see this dharma is to fulfill one's purpose. The wise will see in it their self-cognizing wisdom. The dharma spoken by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent is shown to be well-tempered to the instruction and the needs of all. It drives us from samsara, causes us to go to perfect Buddhahood. It is free from contradiction, and in it all is summarized. It is totally to be relied upon. It is a cutting of the root of ignorance. Lastly, the Sangha of the Mahayana comprises those who have well entered, wisely entered with straightforwardness and aptitude. Right it is to join our hands before them, and right to make prostration. They are the glorious field of merit. They are the perfect recipients of gifts. They are the objects of offering. Everywhere and always, they are the worthy object of all offering. Thus ends the sublime sutra of remembering the three jewels. Okay, you've been very patient, folks, and patience, as they've mentioned in the beginning of this last prayer, is cause for great beauty in the future. We'll all be glorious, radiant people who can spread the Dharma in the future. People will be attracted to us just by our radiance. So that is what the Buddha taught. Patience creates beauty. Now, we need helpers. We need some helpers. Extremely fortunate beings who get a chocolate. Yeah. Make sure you get your hand in the feet. How are you gonna? Anything and everything. Yeah, you don't have to go. You sit and you will sit. You don't need to. Oh. Good. We'll keep one for the Tushita. Yeah, give inside. Don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, we have one here. There's a knife up in the kitchen.
I already have so many blessings.
Nisha, can you bring a knife from the kitchen? And, there's a kharboz hero.
I can take this.
Yes, yes. You can take the sutras. Just the plate. You have a plate? It's a plate. No, I don't think you can actually. You can just sit and enjoy. You should gaze on the Buddha. All your problems. Yeah, that will be best for you. And don't sit on your head. Great. Oh, sorry. I'm handing this out thinking it's something to eat. It's not.
That is why I was thinking, why are you?
Mogra, soothing aromas, for putting room freshener.
Why did you eat that?
I thought it's weird. It doesn't look like anything to eat. Do not eat the mogra.
मैं तो बैठ के पंडित जी की तरह खा रहा हूँ। नमस्ते अंशु बाबा। मुझे पता है वो स्मेल आती है उसके बाद। हाँ। बस कभी नहीं खा रहे थे उसको।
Oh, when did you arrive?
तुमने कुछ खा लो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैंने सब कुछ खाया मैं ऐसे लग रहा हूँ मैंने मुझे लगता है मैं जिस पंडित जी बैठे तुम खा लो कुछ प्रसाद इतना कबीर जी ने ना वो खा लिया पूरी he had that aromatic thing now which you keep in the cupboard.
Yeah, even I got one.
Kabir ji had that aromatic thing. Potpourri. ये मुझे भी लगा ये भी वैसे लग रहा है मैंने सोचा दूर से कभी चॉकलेट
I think I keep it back in this one.
You should eat one.
Really? I didn't even edit it.
I ate it. I'm
ये सारे फूड्स रेसिडेंट वाले so you're supposed to finish the melon क्या how did you not rest it मैंने ना दूर से देखा उसमें जब छोटी चॉकलेट बट खाने के बाद पता होना चाहिए ना कभी चबा रहे हो what is wrong वहाँ जाओ How are you? Hello, I'm very good. पीछे बैठे Oh yes, I'm now exploring. तभी मैंने पीछे देखा मुझे लगा मैंने सुना ही देखा हुआ है I don't मेरे पास ऑरेंज ये ऑरेंज नहीं ये माल्टा है मैंने बोला है विश्व को ना ये रेसिडेंशियल बंदे के लिए है पूरा खाना है उसको सब कुछ He's like no you मेरा आपने नहीं ली ये जादू है सारे जन सुनाही उनको भी दे दो इनके हस्बैंड को भी स्टैकिंग नहीं है नहीं Each one of you will get merits separately, double merits. Oh, उसने मना कर दिया. I had asked her to give it to you, double merits, both husband wife. I was telling my friend to give it to you. She said, "उनके पास है." मैंने बोला double merit, both husband and wife को देना चाहिए. Now I started learning like this. पहले वो ले ही नहीं पाता था. मुझे लगता है कि वो change हुआ. I think that I can the universe under control. Or yeah, it's not control. We're not able to take that change. क्या हो गया भाई? Last one, I always see the strict. Unfortunately, less there. Time is what's more precious, and you can't find answers. And ultimately, हमें नहीं दे दिया. हाँ. Landed out to trade. I think Rahul was yes, they I am very good. And what about you? You just look like
Hi, Sagar.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Tik Tak. Tik Tak.
Yeah.
Sujit, hi. Sujit,
Hi, Anushri.
happy Buddha Purnima.
आपको भी
यहाँ पे हम लोग सब प्रसाद बट रहे थे।
Okay, हिंदी डेट के हिसाब से आज मेरा भी बर्थडे है, so
क्या
that's fine.
हिंदी नहीं समझ में आ रही?
I'm saying that as per the Hindi calendar, it's
हाँ,
my birthday as well.
Oh really? Oh God,
yeah.
I'll just call sir. हाँ हाँ.
No, no need to. No need
Then
to.
happy birthday. Happy
So,
birthday. sir.
that's वो अंग्रेजी वाला 20 तारीख को है. But thank you.
Yeah, we missed you here, na? Like if you had been here, it would have been
Yeah.
nice. So, yeah. The
I know.
circle-
I wanted to get some offerings.
I know. Yeah, but I could have offered. You could have told me. I could have bought on your behalf and offered.
No, that's entirely fine. That's entirely
Yeah,
fine.
it's fine. Yeah,
Hello,
mental.
yeah. You had a nice time today.
बहुत अच्छा टाइम था यार यहाँ पे, मतलब
Hello.
प्रेजेंस से हाँ बहुत फर्क पड़ता है, प्रेजेंस होती है
हाँ,
ना।
I know. That गोम्पा पे जो लगता है ना, वो that's entirely different, the energy.
हमने मैं
yeah.
जल्दी हो गई थी, I came early and then we decorated with flowers. I will show you. मतलब थोड़ा सा दिख रहा है ना वो?
हाँ, I can see. I can see. Yeah.
तो फ्लावर्स लाई थी और वो लाई थी इंसेंस स्टिक्स और चॉकलेट्स।
I heard you got again German chocolates. Yes. yes. चलो तो convey my hello to everyone and कबीर जी को भी प्रणाम बोल देना. I think.
नहीं, if you have time, I will call him to say bye to you. Shall I call him?
Okay.
I will tell him that.
No need.
Okay, you want to say bye to him, right?
No, just say pranam to him and that's it. वो हम उनसे फिर बात करेंगे. No problems.
अच्छा.
ठीक है?
हाँ, okay. Okay,
चलो,
bye.
bye. Yeah.
Yes, it comes here. Baki everything else.
What did you do?
I ate one.
You ate those. Are these edible?
Which one? Read it. Read that way. It was something like I just knew what it was. And also negative. Yeah, that is right. Many years ago, for many years, he was selling food. It was so much. Yes, red column. Normal. Today when I saw somebody else.
Thank you so much for helping me.
This 7. When did you start this? It's like the basic. If you ask them, it's in the 7th. Tell you like what each of them is. It's very nice. That's Lamri was the thing. हमारे जैसे लोग कभी Lamri में नहीं कर पाए. Not like hard nuts का पानी पीना. That's it. Creates many traditions, but I can follow with Lamri. Out here. How's the food at those? Megraj. Yes. Not for some. Tushita actually a lot of like a deer. Which is in before the pandemic, I was like 2 months ago. Basically, I think it was December 2019, but before that, I went It's true. I mean, there's so much to do. Now they're also diversified quite a bit. Also have like Shaivism, we also have Advaita and yoga and photography and dance and music and all kinds of things. But I like that your focus like it's like it's a great place to spend time. Something like the journey I like to and must have killed a lockdown then I do some one of those people also. I plan to go spend like 3 weeks and end up staying for a year and a half. I mean, anyway, it's not the best time to be or whatever you do. Original white
I'll be also I hope so. Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, I'm staying in the GZ.
No, you said you're right.
कबीर जी ताज होटल फोटो जैसे ताज होटल जाना है अंशुल और सोनाली ने
पब्लिक हेल्थ वाले कहेंगे कुछ करेंगे कुछ
जी मास्क भी नहीं पहनते ये मुझे तो बोलते तुम मास्क नहीं पहना को तो नहीं पहनते
It's not as immaculate as I'd like. I need one. Horizontal. This makes me. I'm
still taking the shortcut and the road step. Shortcut, one cut.
पहले 2 मिनट लगता है शॉर्टकट No, I have to commute 7 minutes.
looking and all we are talking every छोटा है तो
Yes. It's just beyond. Yes, on the other side. छोटे चोर इस तरफ हैं, बड़े चोर छोटे चोर
कुछ हो रहा
बढ़िया खाना खिलाते हैं the cafeteria if you join their WhatsApp every so often Prashant doesn't progress ये place to
some of those tricks are
and I say
and he sends a menu every so often he sends a menu
I check up like that
teaching is just an excellent
personally, I think the peanut butter is better than
peanut butter is
बीट का
even the students.
बीट का खाना ये अच्छा लगता है breakfast but this one stays for a month it's
Haji, certainly not. We get the permission. Asking me permission. In one sentence, she will say sir twice. Sir, when she says sir.
It's okay. Even Pratima calls you sir.
Only one sir.
Pratima is my friend. She also calls her. अब मुश्किल है ना कभी डिटेल्स बहुत ही बेटर बुलाने की never qualify मना करेगा तो नो you can put a prefix G. I know. See the teachers who vendors
Yeah, it's full. So the asking the same, you want to say.
No, is there a way? It's just kept it. You cannot address that all of but many other students also volunteer. Yeah. Opposite.
Don't go there just because you're bored. Have you heard of friendship?
Yes. That's it.
I can't hear you. Yeah.
It's one of the most phenomenal.
Make it strong and non-sound.
Usually, if you can go out there,
Fishing, winds and rain. Internet is down.
I'm channel.
Yeah.
I get the other. I would have been heaven and earth come together. Phenomenal. Who told you? So gifted, not just with the knowledge. Something about the knowledge.
Her health is also not. She was tired.
So I went to oh, I feel their part very lost without it. It just feels like a structure. When there's teaching, there's different energy in the whole area. I felt very lost this couple of years which I went, but this I felt there was
I will tell you, yeah, come, but you have to find accommodation outside. Not book for all, but
लेकिन हम लोग का टाइम बहुत कभी जो आपने contacts हो गया, we can go and
well, I'm sleeping on JG.
For us, it's like, you know, khare khare bhi sun lenge, khare bhi just
They won't have good in the Buddha home. They would be do by yourself.
well,
Never gets a good teaching. 1,000 spaces are gone like that.
yeah, and then so can't log in anymore. Oh, everything is like that. Actually, we also go to event with the sharing
How can you use it? You have to take it out. Then how will you get the smell if it's in a container? Put it in a cloth bag. No? Then you're supposed to put it in a drawer, right? Where it is fresh.
Yeah, yeah. The one
You
which
keep it
I
in the
got the
plastic.
beauty.
So how can you?
I got it from quarter.
And you put some of that.
Bye bye. YouTube and watching I'm not सर्टिफिकेट आपके पास आ गया मेरे पास आया बट मैं देख नहीं पाया वो बैंक और हो गया I'm here for a week. Nimita, she is traveling. Yeah, well,
टाइम मशीन की तरह लग रहा है.
Thanks, sir.
आप तो गिर जा रहे हैं वापस आएंगे तो आपसे मिलेंगे.
Yeah, if I go, it's not certain yet. I'm back.
I just heard about it. I also really want to hear it, which has been years.
Yeah.
And now I have a flight booked to Bangalore. Let's see if I can change it. I also.
Bangalore, yeah. Achha. काम पे.
Just to relax.